Hey there, I am Christie Ruffino, former broke single mom turned CEO of 2 six-figure businesses and best-selling author with 15 books. But it wasn't always like this. Not long ago, I was a hot mess. Yes, I did a lot of things right, but mostly I was throwing spaghetti on the wall to see what would stick. Fast forward past many failed attempts and a few incredible victories, I not only get to share what I've learned along the way, I get to bring together top influencers as they share their empowering stories, insider secrets, and valuable resources that can be used right now to step into your power. So, if you're an ambitious entrepreneur, or possibly one in the making, and you're looking to create a business and life that lights you up, well then you're in the right place. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the Mastery Unleashed podcast. I am Christie Ruffino, and I want to thank you for staying connected to our show and remaining a loyal listener. Now, maybe you're new. Maybe this is your first time checking out our show, and we bring in guests on every episode that share their stories and they share the secrets to their success, specifically in strategies that you could apply to your business today to get amazing results. And today I'm excited to have Mahoney on the show. I have known Molly for, not quite a year yet. I met her in person at the Podcasters Cruise last November. I knew of her, but I didn't know how awesome she was until I actually met her and then ended up by joining her community. Molly was going to share a little bit about her story, but she is just a whirlwind of resources, of strategies, marketing strategies, AI strategies. And I will mention at the end, but I'm mentioning it now, that she doesn't share any of these tools or resources or strategies to keep us busy. Everything she teaches and everything she does to help her clients is all aimed to get sales. Now, yeah, we could go crazy with all of the endless tools out there, but she will extract all of the options out there, and she gives us the best tools for tapping into AI and to enhancing our marketing strategies. And she shows us how to use them effectively. And so in the show, we're going to dive into her voice strategy to make sure our voice stays true and we're not just a little robot out there when we're using AI. She's going to share how we can actually create videos of ourselves without actually being there, but just by doing a process and then feeding that video text, and it will basically allow you to do certain things without actually doing them. And it's great for us trainers out there. We don't want to deceive our audience, but there's a way to do it faster and easier. And she's going to show us how to do that. And finally, we're going to have like a mad dash at the end where she shares all of her favorite resources. So make sure you hang around to the very end so you can get all of this goodness. We're going to talk about how to judge your content. We're going to talk about her quesadilla of awesomeness. We're going to talk about how to season your content. And at the end, she is going to give our audience access to her AI content club for a free trial period. Let me know how you like the show. Stay tuned to the end. And if you like our show in general, please go to whatever platform you listen to us on and show us some love. And we're really looking for more reviews on Apple Podcasts. So if you can head on over there and give us your feedback, show us some love there, we would really appreciate it. So let's get on with the show. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is Christie and Molly Mahoney. I'm super excited for this show. We've actually scheduled and rescheduled quite a few times, but we're here, Molly. We made it.
We did it 75 times. That means it's the best.
It's the best. It's worth waiting, right? And so we're going to start this show like we do every other episode. I'm sure there's going to be a few twists and turns along the way. I said we're going to probably go off the rails quite a few times, but today I want to start with your story. Like why? Like how did this happen? I read your bio. You had like 1 million people uh, got one of your videos, which I'm sure was like a huge. I don't know. You tell your story. Like how did this?
Yeah. Yeah, we've had a couple of moments like that, which have been so adrenaline packed, actually, like when those things
Uh-huh.
happen. So crazy. So, yeah, I started as a professional musical theater performer, did musical theater all my life. I taught musical theater. I worked in New York on, national tours, Broadway shows, things like that. And after moving out to California, while we were on tour with Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, which is very normal, huge congrats to Dick Van Dyke on winning the Emmy. Did you see that?
I did not.
He just became the oldest person to ever
Oh,
win a daytime Emmy, which I think is so cool.
that's super
I
cool.
know. I got very excited on this video and now I've raised my hand because
I
I'm
saw that.
so
I'm like,
excited.
okay, wait,
Sorry.
you have the question. Molly has the question.
So here I can, okay, good. So, while on tour, I realized, I had made all these accomplishments in my life in terms of how I was working as a professional performer. And I knew that I wanted something more. I had started a side business selling knit and crocheted goods and patterns and handmade felt. You can still see it if you go to Molly Made Me on Facebook. I have like an old Facebook page, but I was really into that and I just knew there was something else that I wanted to be doing. And so my bass playing husband and I, as you know, my awesome husband, we moved all the way back to California from New York and I started teaching. So I started teaching musical theater, I started teaching knitting and crocheting, I started teaching like literally I had 10 different jobs in 10 different locations, like directing shows at different places. It was awesome. And when we had kids, I was like, this is actually not something that I can do while having children. This is going to
Wow.
be a little too crazy. So I decided to start offering classes online and I really followed everything that Pat Flynn taught at the time. So passive income, the smart passive income podcast and everything that he was teaching, I like did all of it. And it worked really well. I mean, if you look up tap dance terminology right now, I am the number one search result for tap dance terminology still
Okay.
to this day,
Okay.
which I think is
I'll
so
get on
weird.
that.
Yeah. And then eventually in 2016, when Facebook Live came out, I realized it was great to help performers to have a career. And I had built a six-figure business doing that. And I was really well respected in our area. I had a monthly show that I was running here with singers, like an open mic night. But I realized if I could switch things and rather than teaching performers how to have a business, I started teaching business owners how to perform.
Oh,
That was going to be
yeah.
like even better. And so we launched a program on how to use Facebook Live because it not a lot of people were using it. And it was called Camera Confidence. And we did $50,000 in 3 months. And from like nothing, we started it as a $47 product and then things just went up from there. It was awesome. And then that kind of led to where we are today. So as new technology has come out on social media, we've really dug in. So when Facebook Messenger bots came out, in 2018, we were featured as one of the top companies using messenger bots. I spoke at all kinds of events about messenger bots. Then, when AI came out, way before ChatGPT in 2021, we dug really deep into AI. And at that time, we were using a tool called Jasper, which we still love the people at Jasper.
Yeah, your boyfriend
I
Jasper.
know, my boyfriend Jasper, as we say. But yeah, so that just really opened up a whole new world. And we really focus on using these technology systems in order to allow us to be more human and to deepen our human connection. And so I weave my experience as a musical theater performer and like the empathy and the confidence and all that kind of stuff into what we're doing with technology. And it's been so fun. So here we are today.
Yeah, hence the name prepared performer.
Yes, that is it. So it started actually coaching performers, but in 2016, we switched things up.
Yeah. And I know one of the things that you say a lot is something about your weird. So let's
Yeah.
get into that because that's, I mean, I've always heard that you want to bring out your unique self, but you kind of take it to the next level.
Yeah. So When, in terms of like the viral content that we've had a few videos that have hit bananas numbers. One in particular that actually hit a reach of 39 million,
Whoa,
which
wow.
it's like still so strange to me that that even happened. It was very calculated. I was very specific about what we did in that video. And Facebook ended up paying us $30,000 for that video because they were paying for Reels views at the time because they wanted to pull people from TikTok.
Oh,
So I
gotcha.
was like, as it was happening, I was like, are they actually going to follow through with this? But they totally did. They fully paid us. I was like, it was amazing.
Wow.
And it was a very weird video, speaking of weird, which we can talk about that later. But what I've realized from my time as a musical theater performer to now, the times when I have had the biggest amount of success, I've made the biggest impact, I've had the best connections with the most amazing humans, is when I've really truly allowed myself to show up in a completely authentic, goofy, whatever way without trying to force things. And also sometimes I used to avoid the word authenticity because sometimes people say like, "Oh, I'm just being vulnerable and authentic," but it's not. And you can tell it's like forced authenticity, which is not what we want, right? And so what I realize is if we can find out the things that you think are weird about yourself, that's usually the thing that is actually the most human, the most truly you. So rather than feeling shame around it, let's just like celebrate that weird is wonderful and put it out there.
Yeah, completely, because your weird is also other people's weird, and when you do
Yes.
put it out there, they're gonna be like, "Oh, I'm not alone." And they're gonna resonate with you, and
Yeah, and
yeah,
it ties so well into, like, what you're doing with storytelling and all of that, like, that's really whether it's Facebook Live or TikTok or Clubhouse or AI, like, these are all just mechanisms and tools that we use to actually do the thing that is really the most important piece, which is to tell story. It is to build those connections, and if we don't have a good hold on who we are as humans before we start using those pieces of technology, we are going to be in big trouble because the AI is actually close to taking over and there is nothing that will differentiate you because it has become really easy for people to just like create whatever they want and the
yeah,
only thing we have is your
our
humanness.
uniqueness, yeah, our
Yeah, your
humanness.
weird is your superpower is what we say. So,
Yes, your weird is your superpower. There you
yeah.
go. Awesome. And this all ties into what we're going to be talking about in the next half after our commercial break. We're going to get into how we can keep our authentic, if we want to use the our weird voice when we're using AI. So stay tuned, everybody. We will be right back.
Are you an entrepreneur with a powerful message but struggling to reach the audience you deserve? Do you feel like your business is just one step away from true greatness, but you can't seem to get there? It's time to unlock your potential and elevate your business to new heights. Introducing the 7-Figure Book Launch Workshop, your blueprint for success. In this transformative workshop, you'll learn how to turn your expertise into a 7-figure business by leveraging the power of your expertise and your own book. Become the authority in your field, expand your reach, and increase your income, all with the tools and strategies from industry experts. Don't let your potential go unnoticed. Join us at the 7-Figure Book Launch Workshop and take the first step towards becoming an industry icon. Sign up now for the 7-Figure Book Launch Workshop at 7figurebook-launch-workshop, all spelled out, all one word, .com. Spots are limited, so don't wait.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Christie and Molly Mahoney, and we're going to talk about how to stay true to our weirdness and let our authentic voice stay basically intact when we're using AI.
Yeah.
Is that what we're going to talk about,
That's what
Molly?
we're gonna do, yeah, and how to make sure that no matter what tool you're using, you're able to develop this consistent brand voice across everything that you're doing. So, this is really great for creating content, it's really great for creating, like, SOPs, it's great for creating whatever you're doing with your actual clients, it's great for onboarding team members, it's great if you're, like, getting a grant. I mean, it just it transpires through everything that we're doing in our business, so it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because I think for me, I know I've used AI for certain applications, but there are so many things we can use it for beyond just the things we even know about. Like I just recently wrote a business plan for something. It was an exercise at an event. We did this business plan, and like I just never would think to have AI create this amazing business plan in a matter of minutes. That I know when I did my business plan years ago, it took me days, if
Oh my
not
gosh,
longer.
totally. You know what? Even today, I did something today that I had never done before, which I know seems crazy because I'm like so deep and obsessed with this, but I wanted to put my calendar into a spreadsheet, and I took a screenshot of my calendar and
Oh,
loaded it into ChatGPT, and I said, turn this into a table, and it did.
oh my gosh, that's crazy. I know when we were on the cruise in November, we were talking about podcasts and the different things that, people share the different uniqueness things that they did. And I know I talked about how I have a kind of a player at the top of all of my websites that I had to pay somebody to code it and put it in. And then they had to create a child theme and they had to do all of these things. So every week or every day, the most recent episode would be playing at the top of my website. And you're like, oh, give me a minute. And you went with your computer and you wrote code to do it for your site. Like in a
I
matter
did,
of like
which is
seconds.
still, it's so wild that we can do that.
I know.
Amazing. And I don't write code usually. It's
Yeah.
so cool. I forgot that I did that. I'm so glad you mentioned that because I'm launching a new podcast called,
I
I
heard.
know, I'm very excited to have you on too, called the Authentically Awesome Podcast. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to go back and use my own code. I forgot. Thank you for that. I forgot what a coder I am.
Yeah, and it's just now we have to think differently. I mean, I just recently I wanted to do some weird little coding shift on my website with a button, and I asked somebody like, "How do I do this?" They're like, have you ever heard of GPT?" And I'm like, "Duh." Oh
Okay,
my
well,
gosh.
hopefully this, and not even hopefully, those of you that are actually using either ChatGPT or Magi or Claude or Gemini, whatever tool you're using as a chat tool, this framework that we're going to give you today is going to help you to make sure that the content really like reeks of you.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we are using these AI tools, it just feels so AI-y, but we're
Mm,
going to show you how to AI-ify your messaging, AIify your content, AIify your sales pages. This is really how to AIify your whole entire business without losing who you are as a human being. So it's going to be
perfect.
awesome.
I love reeks of you. That's like
I
that's a good like little quote writer downer for Molly
Yeah.
Martin. And it's content that reeks of you.
I'm going to use that in my next ad campaign. So thank
There
you.
you go. Awesome. Also, too, I would love to, at the very end, if we have time, talk about how we can use AI to create our own videos,
Oh,
right?
yeah, yeah,
You've
yeah.
done that where you've just done your basic video and now you feed it a script and then it will basically speak that script with your face and your voice, which is amazing.
Yeah, so we've been doing, we'll talk about it at the end, but I've been using it a lot for moments where I want to do like tech tutorials, but I don't necessarily want to be on camera. I have my AI avatar introduce me, which I've even used it when speaking on stage. My AI avatar comes in the middle and it's like, hey, Molly doesn't know I'm here, but it's like really funny. And then I talk back to my AI avatar. It's
Oh,
awesome.
how cute, how cute. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's get into, I think we're going to be talking about
Yeah.
voice.
Yes. So this is the voice prompt method. So again, this is how we get AI that reeks of you, right? And it's a lovely acronym because I think frameworks and acronyms are always so helpful for people like maybe you also. I don't know if you're as crazy as I
Oh,
am,
for
but
sure.
like, yeah, the
I need
cuckoo,
order.
like, yeah,
I need a little order in the craziness that's going on in my head. Logic.
totally.
Wow.
Yes, please. Awesome. So we're going to go through it. It's VOICE. And so the V is kind of unexpected for the voice prompt method, but the V is actually your voice. So
No,
it's
no.
very clever.
Oh,
It's
I'm
very
shocked.
clever.
Okay. How do you spell that?
I know. So this is where you're going to identify your brand's unique personality. And there's several ways that you can do this. If you have already been writing content or like Christy, for you, it's super easy, obviously. And I know you've gone through a lot of our trainings on this. So I know this is like stuff that you've been doing. So you can actually say like this actually works because you've done it, which I love the way that you've done it. You're going to capture your own brand personality. And so you can actually load in past episodes if you have a podcast, past blog posts. I have every post that I've written on my personal profile on Facebook, I have documented inside a spreadsheet. So since 2018, we have been
Oh,
collecting my personal
oh,
profile Facebook posts.
oh, I can't imagine how big of a file that is.
It's so good. It's huge. And I used to
Awesome.
have to use Claude to be able to read it all because ChatGPT couldn't process it, but ChatGPT can do it now. So
I know.
it's so cool. So you can load that in and then ask it to identify your brand voice and then make sure that you're coming back and I like to use the word zhuzh, right? You're going to come back and zhuzh it, edit it, make sure that it's actually what you want to sound like. You may find out that you sound like a jerk and you don't realize it. Like what if you put your content in and it's like tone, condescending and elitist? Like, oh, maybe
Oops.
maybe that's what you're going for, but maybe not. So that's the first thing. And then the other piece of it is if you don't have content that you can load in, what you actually want to do is pick other people that you want to sound like.
Mm,
So I love to have a mix between like Perry Belcher, Gary Vee, and Brene Brown. So I'm mixing that like empathy and the human understanding of Brene Brown with the like hardcore marketer of Perry Belcher or Gary Vee, right? So if you can find different people that you love, you can say, hey, do you know this person? Give me their brand voice. So you
okay.
can start to create this for yourself.
But it's key is taking a couple people. Like you don't want to say, oh, I want to be just like Gary Vee, but if you take a couple people and add it all together,
Yeah,
right?
1,000,000%. So remember, this is actually identifying who you are
You
as a
are.
human.
That's
So
right.
you'll just use those extra examples as like inspiration. The other thing that we'll do in this is we will use our little magic tool, which is called the quesadilla of awesome. And the quesadilla of awesome is where you identify who you are as an actual human being separate from your business. And
Mm,
so we'll load that in, we'll load your bio in, and that information all goes in to clarify your voice. It can also pull out little like anecdotes and things like that. All of that goes into your voice.
yeah.
Cool.
Perfect.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then the final piece of the voice is that you want to say, like, this is who I am and what I sound like. And now, if you're going to be using AI to do something that maybe you don't usually do, like
Mhm.
maybe you are a life coach and you usually help people to better their life. You're not necessarily focused on like Facebook ads, for example. You may take your voice and then say, act like a high level Facebook ads expert with a deep understanding of human psychology or something like that. So you'll add in the role that you're playing with your voice. That all goes into that voice section.
Gotcha. Yeah. Love that. You have some great prompts. I've learned so much from you in the content club.
I love having
Yes.
you in there with us.
Yeah, some of this is repeat, but it's also good. And there's a few nuggets, new stuff I wrote down already. So the next one is O. So what is the O in voice?
Okay, so the O is for your objective. And
Okay.
I think this stuff is also not only good for AI, but it's so good for our own brains. Like if we got this clear before starting to write copy, how much better would our copy be?
Or anything we do. Like if we know
Yeah,
the
right.
objective, well, what is the end in mind, right? You have to know
Right.
what that is. Otherwise you're wandering around aimlessly.
Well, even like talking, like if I go downstairs and try to get the kids to want to go read a book instead of play on video games,
Yeah.
my objective is not to argue with them. My objective is that they actually read. So it's going to change the way that I approach the conversation. So you want to define your goal. Is it to drive sales? Is it to boost engagement? Is it to educate? Is it to inspire? What's your true objective here? That one's pretty easy.
That's very easy. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
And then, so you want to go on to the next one or you want to stay there?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I,
The next one is insights. And
mm,
this is where you get it to understand more about your business, your audience, things like that. So this is where you would make sure that you have your ideal client identified. You would make sure that your offerings, like if you're creating content to lead to a specific offer, you would give it information about that offer. Just like if you were onboarding a new team member, speak to AI like it's a human being and make sure it has all the information that it needs.
that's one of the things that I know, because I created an AI prompt, GPT or
Yes.
GPT, not a prompt, but a GPT based off of your training. And I know when I went through that with my students, they had so many questions about what do I do about this and how do I do that? And I just said, well, what would you do if this was your assistant?
Yeah.
You just talk to them like that. And if they mess up, you tell them and then they make it better. And then they remember that and they keep learning and learning and learning. So if you go forward with it, thinking that they're just another digital human that you can train. And I mean, I think that makes a big difference.
And it's such a thing that I think is really hard for people to actually conceptually
Yeah,
grasp.
like it's going to learn, but it does.
Yeah. And like people will get a response back and be like, oh, this isn't what I do. And I'm like, great. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to say, hey, that's not actually what I do. Like exactly what you just told me. Tell it. Like,
Uh,
um, and sometimes, we always joke around, like, I love to be like very, encouraging, and I use very kind, over the top, like lovely words because that's how I want it to talk back to me. But sometimes I have to be like, look, sucker, you're not listening to me. And I need you to actually follow directions now and like bring out the high heel sparkly boots to like kick it a little bit. And then it gets back in line, you
yeah.
know?
So all I think of is my phone, like Siri. I ask
Okay.
Siri something and it doesn't do it. And so I just like throw my phone. I'm like, forget it. And this is so different. It's not like that.
Yeah. And that's why it's not called this anymore, but our program, the Content Club, when we first created the AI Content Club, it was called Dancing with Jarvis because Jasper was called Jarvis before. And
uh,
so we made the whole program about how you have to dance with the AI. It's like,
yeah,
it's not a one-way thing. It's really a communication, which is so cool.
it is. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just so mind blowing to think that I mean we know we've lived through it. We know it's here, but just to think about what is involved with creating this artificial intelligence that can learn from us and be smarter than us, for crying out loud.
I know, and do things so much more quickly. And
And-
another thing to think about when we're putting this all together, like as you're listening to this whole framework, you may be like, oh my gosh, I have to do all of that every time I use AI. No, this is like the perfect situation that you would include all of this information. But the cool thing is, a lot of this is actually always going to be the standard when you're using AI. So, like Christy mentioned earlier, you can create what's called a custom GPT if you have the paid version of ChatGPT, and you can have like individual assistants that know this information. So if you have one individual assistant that knows who your ideal client is, you can do an inside ChatGPT, you do an @ symbol and you type the word ideal client and you say, remind me who my ideal client is. And it'll just bloop, 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 and type it all up. So you can use these um like sections of this framework to actually be individual GPTs as well, so that you can really easily season your chat. Or like we love to do, you can have one actual GPT that knows everything about your business. And all you have to do is say, like, today we're going to be writing a blog post. Today we're going to be writing Facebook ads. And you can have those two GPTs talk to each other.
oh, I didn't even know you could do that.
It is so cool. I just recorded a video on it this past week because, like, for example, in our content club, I created an ideal client avatar GPT that helps you identify your ideal client avatar. Then I created one that does a process that we call the tree of beliefs, which is like identifying the buying beliefs. And then I created another one that writes all your content. And you can go at ideal client avatar. Here's my website. Give me my ideal client. At tree of beliefs. Now create a tree of beliefs. At super prompt. Now run the super prompt. And they all talk to each other.
Wow. No, I didn't know that. So I've created a few GPTs that I use personally. I know I have one that's public, but there's a few that I've used for specific things that I do in my business with my clients. And I never even thought about the possibility of having them talk to each other.
Yeah, you
How
just type. So
cool.
you have to make sure that you've actually used it within the past like month or so, because
Okay.
sometimes they'll drift away. So if it doesn't show up when you do the @ symbol, just do a test chat and be like, hey, are you still there? And then it will be. And
Ah,
then in that main thread, just hit the @ symbol and it will pop up. And it's like you're bringing it into the other chat.
yeah. Wow. Okay, cool. This is awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go to C.
Okay, so far we did your voice, which
Yep.
is actually setting your, the tone and who you're speaking as, your objective, what's your goal, and then your insights is all the nitty-gritty stuff inside your business or organization, or if it's like a math tutor, whatever, like insights about what's going on. Okay, then the next one is really important and a lot of people miss this. It is C for composition.
Mm.
And the composition is something that a lot of people don't even realize is possible, but it will not only follow the directions in terms of like what type of content you want, but also how you want it to be written. So you can write things in a table, you can write things in a graph, you can write things as in a blog post format, in an email format. So what structure do you want it to use when it's giving you what you're asking for? That's the composition.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know I was doing some keyword research and then it kept giving me a list, right? Like, I'm like, no, I need it with commas so I can then use them. And so it's just telling it what to do. And I know
Mhm.
you've got a really great formulas that you use when you're asking for results and having that data put into a table. And it just makes the thing so much easier. And if you don't know how to ask it, then you're spending
Mhm.
more time taking that data and using it than you really need to. So I love
Yeah.
that.
And I'll even use it sometimes just to reformat things that I have written somewhere else. Like I'll take something that's on a list that someone sends me, or like, I love doing this. I'll take comments on a Facebook post and
Yeah.
just select and copy all the comments and I put it in and I say, now organize this in a table. And it's like, ah, and you can say a table with the header, name, comment, and category or theme. And now you know like what your people are talking about. Amazing. It's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So my clients do market research and they now are using Fathom for the data. And so that's what they're
Yeah.
doing. They're taking the data from all of those calls and then having that go into this table. And it just makes their job so much easier.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Cool.
All
All
right.
right. So E.
Okay, the E is for examples. So
Okay.
this is specific use cases, inspiration, for inspiration and alignment. So I don't always include an example to be totally honest, but it's something where if I'm asking for something quickly and I'm like, hey, here's my business, here's what I'm offering, give me this thing in this format. And it knows my voice, right? Then if it's not exactly the way that I want it, I'll be like, okay, that was a great start, but now can you please use this as an example for your inspiration?
Uh,
So know that this whole thing is like the best way to do it. And if you find that you're not getting the results that you want, you can come back to this list and be like, okay, was I clear about the voice? Was I clear about my objective? Was I clear about the insights and other information inside the business? Was I clear? Oh my gosh, clear about the composition? And then did I give it examples? Because if you're not clear, then you're not going to get what you want, like in general in life.
gotcha.
So,
Yeah.
and if you don't have examples, you may need to actually write something as a human or do some research to find examples of something you love. Or maybe you use AI to come up with different examples. Like, I didn't really like that one. Try it with a Barbie flare or whatever you do until you find the good example and then hold on to that one and use it in the future in your prompts.
Okay. I love it. This is awesome. All right. Let's talk about the videos.
Okay. So good.
And then I want to wrap up with you sharing like some of your top favorite tools. Because
Okay.
tools are also that's another great thing that people love.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Okay. So the videos, I mean, it is wild. So we use a tool called HeyGen for the videos, and there's a lot out there, but HeyGen is the best. Like, don't look at anything else. Just use HeyGen. And I don't work with them. I think I have an affiliate link somewhere, but that's not what this is about. Like, it is the best. And what you do when you start to create your video avatar is you record a 2-minute video. They're really big on privacy to make sure that you have permission to use your own likeness. So it's very difficult to create these for someone else without them actually getting into the app. And you have to record you on camera saying, I am Molly Mahoney and I give permission to use my likeness. So just keep that in mind. And then they ask you to record 2 minutes of a video. Now, when they give you instructions on what to do, they say, speak, and then in between each sentence, close your mouth.
Okay,
Okay.
oops.
Yeah. So when I
How
speak,
did you do that? How many times did it take for you to get that right, Molly?
well, I actually did it right the first time, but then the video turned out so bad. My husband called it Botox Molly because it was like, hi, my name is Molly Mahoney. And it looked like a robot because I was speaking like a robot when I trained it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So then I did another one where I used my hands and I know when I'm speaking on camera, I use my hands. I put my glasses up on top of my head a lot. I'll look up to the side. I'm at a standing desk, so I'll like look down at my keyboard sometimes. Sometimes I like make weird faces, like grimaces and things like that. That's like how I actually speak. That's my weird.
Yeah.
Have I ever told you, total side note really quick, but the story is really good. Have I ever told you about the person who almost who sent me an email saying that she almost didn't join our program and wanted to know if I wanted to know why?
Oh.
And
Okay. Well, that
okay,
was
so I wrote her back and I was like, sure, I'm always open for feedback. And she said, I really can't handle the faces that you make in your
oh,
videos.
goodness.
I said, this is a really long time ago. And I used to start with like a dance party at the beginning of my videos. And I said, oh, well, a lot of people have said that they like my dance parties, but I totally understand if you don't, like, you can just skip past them. And she wrote back and said, it's not your dance parties, it's your face.
Oh, geez.
Like,
Oh my gosh. Okay.
okay.
I would say how rude. Okay. Well, then why did
Yes.
she join?
Right.
She
So I
ended up
wrote her
with him.
back and I said, and if you saw her videos, you would understand that she and I are like the complete antithesis of each other. Like she looked very, like she looked like she was like living on, uh, she looked like she was like in Little House of the Prairie. Like she had like, she was like in it. It was
They
very
prefer,
reserved,
yeah,
right? She would have
yeah.
done great at Botox Molly on videos. But and like that was her weird. That was her
Yeah.
awesome, right? So I wrote her back and I said, I'm so glad you shared this with me because that's my actual face. And like those are the faces that I actually make when I'm speaking. And this is what we encourage you to really lean into. Like, what are the things that potentially could polarize people about your videos? Like, you're going to get negative comments like this. And I just encourage you to really be yourself. And she wrote back and said, oh my gosh, thank you so much for this response. This makes me feel so much better about my videos. And I'm just going to put a book in front of your face when I listen to your video.
Oh, for gosh sakes. No way she didn't say that.
She did
Oh,
a book over my face. I was like,
oh.
here we are.
Okay. Well, you know what? Somebody's got a few things that they've got to work through.
Right, right, right. So, okay. So with that in mind, I was like, all right, there's no book behind this face. I want this to look just like me.
Well,
So
and you
now
want to be
when I,
polarizing too. You don't want to have a bunch of just people, oh, she's okay. You want people to be like raving fans. And I
yeah,
know what I love about you is I love your sparkle pants. I love your banana phone. I love your crazy glasses. Sometimes you'll have two pair of glasses on, one on your face and one on your head.
have you seen this new banana phone?
Sparkly banana phone.
It's a disco ball banana phone. If you're listening to this podcast, you
Oh,
are missing out because I just got a disco ball banana phone from a
I
friend. It's so
love
good.
that.
Anyway,
That
yeah.
is very sparkly. And
Yeah.
I just want to make a little note. This is not AI Molly talking. Trust me, this is really Molly in this interview.
It's true. So on the AI one, you can actually, if you go to my YouTube, which is the Prepared Performer, I did a whole series on how to stream live into Facebook groups after the API change, which has been super helpful for people. And there's only one video in that whole series that actually is me. I'm like in Hawaii at a table. Like that's the only one that's real. The rest of it, it's my AI avatar. The video is the avatar. But what I did was I used my own voice.
Oh,
So
okay.
I recorded some of these at like 5 a.m. And
Yeah.
so you can tell it's like sleepy voice, Molly. My voice is a little lower and more like sultry. But but it's my own voice. And then I put my avatar over my own voice.
Okay. And so you didn't have to do your makeup or your hair. You could have been out in the beach all sweaty and just have these
Totally.
amazing videos. I love that.
Yeah. And then I always admit that it's my AI avatar. I say like, and
Yes.
yes, this is my avatar. The only thing that's weird about it is that at some point, because I wanted to make sure that I brought my hands up, at one point when I was doing that 2-minute video, my hands came in front of my
Oh, like
face.
a prayer. Yeah. She's doing the prayer
And
move right now.
yeah, so if you're listening to the podcast, thank you. Yeah, it was like I'm praying, I'm praying, I am
Praying.
praying, right? So I'm like, please. And then when it does that, my fingertips disappear. So
Oh.
on the video, you can see that it does bring its fingers up like that, but when the fingers hit my chin, they go away.
What happened? Her fingers got cut off. Oh no.
Totally.
Oh no,
But
what's
because I'm being
going on?
playful with it, I'm not trying to
Yeah.
use AI to
No,
trick
you're not,
people.
right, you're not.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's a
And
really
then
good thing too. You wanna be transparent if you're doing it that way.
totally.
Yeah.
And there is a voice option within Hagen. I actually prefer the 11 Labs voice option. So if I was ever going to have my team make full AI videos of me, they would use the 11 Labs tool, which
Mm.
is amazing as well. And we have a whole podcast that we launched. It's called the Content Club Podcast, and it's all AI.
I know, and you did it like on the airplane,
I
right?
did 8 episodes on an airplane.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Actually, on the way, home from the podcasters cruise, I think you did that, right?
Yeah, I think I did it. Did I do it on the way there? I don't know, but I did it. I think I did it on the
Oh,
way
maybe you
there.
did on the way there because you talked about it, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, I don't have a new podcast. I need to have one before I get there. I'm gonna create it with AI in the air."
Oh, too
Ah,
funny.
yeah.
Too funny. Welcome to the world of AI. Speedy weedy. All right, so let's talk about your favorite tools, because I know you have, it's amazing. So in the content club, if anybody's listening, we're going to share a link, a special link for you to get free access to that. But what happens is it is like a fire hose coming out of Molly's mouth, and so many great resources. And I just like leave every time with a lot of notes and what action items I'm going to take, which have been good. I've done some great things with it. But I love the fact that we, or at least I feel, I know what to use. And so I'm not wasting my time on things that don't work. And I think that is a huge thing as an entrepreneur. We hear this and we hear that, and we hear all of these options out there. And there could be, I don't know, 20 out there that help you do these video things. But we want to know the ones that work by somebody that's tested a lot of them and has gotten the results. And so I love the fact that you've got this whole list of resources, and it makes my job a whole lot easier.
Yeah. And, I think it's also important. I remind our Sales Stars members this often, that sometimes even with me, if you're seeing my content that's not inside the content club or inside our Sales Stars program, it's important to remember that you're viewing marketing based content. That
Yeah.
sometimes I'll do a post that's like, oh my God, whatever, like this new thing. And I'm always excited about it. But sometimes people are doing content about tools that's like, because it's new and fresh and they know that it's going to
Uh,
get a lot of
yeah. It's
opens and
like
clicks
the
and
new, yeah,
views.
SEO, everybody's talking about it. Like it's popular, but it's not
Yeah.
best.
Right. So I try to really make sure that I'm taking all of the crazy, like there's like thousands of AI tools available, and we're like really streamlining it to give you the best one. So if you know, it could be really fun.
Wow.
If you just ask, like, we didn't plan this, so if this won't work, tell me. But if you're like, okay, for video repurposing, like if you just say like what the topic is of what you would use AI for, and then I say my favorite tool for it, or do you think that's too crazy? I can
Yeah,
just tell you.
well, I can give it a whirl. All right. So video repurposing. How am I doing? Am I doing good so far?
That's great. You're doing perfect. You're doing perfect. Okay. So there's two tools that we use mostly for video repurposing. If you want something that is going to give you like lightning fast, quick, actual video chunks that you can use right away, it's not going to be as polished. It's not going to be as like refined. We use Opus more than any of the others. So I
Yep.
used to recommend video as well, but right now video just got like a little confusing. So Opus is the number one that we're using for that.
And it gives you like ratings, like this one's a 93, this one's a 87. So it helps you kind of know which one's better based on its opinion.
Yeah, it's using like
Yeah.
marketing knowledge,
Yeah.
and it actually will do a composition of your video. So if you put a long form video in, it will pull several clips together to
Yeah.
make a good clip.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not perfect by any means, but it's definitely the
No.
fastest way to get captions, B-roll, everything on it.
Yeah.
If you are looking for a tool that you can get a more dialed in, specific, like higher quality repurposing, we're using Descript for everything. And actually Descript just announced, they just rolled out, it'll search for clips as well. So
Okay.
it's like giving Opus a run for its money. So
Oh,
I don't
maybe
know if you're using Descript, but in terms of video editing, it's like, it's so easy, and
it
you can
is.
get so specific with it. And you can also overdub your voice. So that's actually the first tool I used for fake Molly.
Okay. All right.
Because if you're missing words or you need to change something, like once I said the wrong date on a video, you can just overdub it with
Yes.
your own voice.
And we've done that to get rid of all of my ahs and ums in my podcast shows.
Yeah, it does that in literally one click. Like it
It does.
finds all pauses, ahs, ums,
Yeah.
likes, and you can be really specific about what you want. So
How
that's
about
really good.
how about putting when you have a video and you want to repurpose it and having those like words and stuff, like little captions that
Yeah,
go
the
on?
captions. Yeah. So Opus and video will do both of those.
Oh, they
Both
do.
of those will do
Perfect.
it.
All right.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then if you want to turn your podcast or video into text,
Mhm.
like Capshow is amazing because it will give you a blog post, a LinkedIn post, a social media quotes and things like that. So if you want a tool that will do it for you, Capshow is great for that. You also can create your own custom GPTs to find those pieces for you by just loading the transcript of your video into ChatGPT, or even linking the YouTube video. It will be able, I don't know if you do this, but you can link inside ChatGPT, you can paste a YouTube video link, and it will be able to give you timestamps and summarize the video.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. How about, let me think, what else? What other thing? I don't even know what else to ask.
I can tell you. It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about like I've seen a lot of people sharing a link for like a headshot. Like you put in your picture and it creates all of these images of you.
Yeah, so there's a couple that I've used for that, but I don't think that any of them are worth it.
Okay.
I have used several, like there's one that I used recently. I just don't like them. So I think better than using those headshot. Is there one that you like to use?
Well, somebody referred one recently and I don't remember what it is. Obviously I saved it, but I don't remember where I saved it to.
Yeah, I can, and
All
I
of my
can,
little
there's a
tabs.
couple that I've used, but I don't like them as much as what I prefer is actually loading a photo into like ChatGPT or Midjourney and making it very AI-ified. So it's like a
Yeah.
cartoon
So
version
it's
of
like
you.
cartoony. Yes.
Yeah. The ones that are like the fake headshots, mine, I think because I have bangs and because I have glasses, they don't work as well on me
Oh, gotcha.
because it's messing with the actual face.
Right. Yeah,
So
I've tried them too, and it doesn't look anything like me. I'm like,
yeah, I
not
think it's better to just take photos. And then if you want to do like an AI version of it, make it a really cartoonified version, or like Lenza AI works well for like those kind of crazy avatar looking ones. Um, I can rattle off some tools that I love. So
yes,
another
too,
one that's
because
similar
if
to
I've
that.
not used them, I don't even know what to ask.
Okay, yeah. So that was like a crazy idea. So Miss GIF is so cool. Have you used Miss GIF?
No.
Oh my gosh. So it will take any photo and combine it with a popular GIF. So I know this is like an audio podcast, but is there a video version of this also that people can see if they or no?
Yes, they will be on maybe,
You
hopefully.
okay. Well, I'm going to show it to you.
Yes, you show it to me. We are putting them on, we have been trying to put them on YouTube, but for whatever reason, it's not working right. So we're still trying to figure that out.
Okay.
Anyway,
So
it is working.
you can
Just
take a
been in
screenshot of this and put it in the show notes or something, because or maybe you can just even put this GIF. If you go into Giphy and
Yeah.
you search Molly Mahoney Barbie, this
Yes.
will come up because
Yes.
I have it as a searchable GIF actually. But so basically like the Barbie GIF of her in the car.
I did that actually.
You did
I
it?
thought it was so fun. You shared that and I'm like, oh, that is so fun. I did
It's
something.
so good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, why can't I find it? Where is it? Where is it? Ah, I don't know where I had it. Anyway, I have it somewhere in
So
here.
does Miss Gift then create the different things?
It will create the GIF. Yeah. So look, I will show you. This is
The one I
it here, right?
Mhm.
So it's my face
Yeah.
on
On
Barbie's
Barbie's
face.
face. Yeah.
So funny. And so if you go to Miss GIF, it's MISGIF.
Oh,
Sometimes I accidentally put two S's, MISGIF.app. And then it'll bring up all these different GIFs. And then you just load your video, your photo, and it can create a new GIF based on that. And what I did, like I spoke at this event in Hawaii that my friend Kevin King was hosting, and I used his face for it so that I brought him into my slides to make it like really hit home with the people in the community.
yeah. How cool is that?
Yeah. So I love that one. Another tool that I love that doesn't get talked about as often as I think it should is Perplexity. Are you using Perplexity
I am
much?
not. I'm not using any of these.
Oh
So
my gosh. Okay. So Perplexity is amazing for research. If you go in, let's say you're doing a topic or you're speaking about something or you have a book that's coming out, it will do data research and it'll give you specific citations to where it pulled the information from.
ooh, I love that.
It doesn't make things up the way that some of these other tools will do.
Yeah.
And if you have the paid version, they just launched a brand new thing called Pages, where I'll be like bad examples of AI. And so it'll pull all these articles for me. And then I'll say, turn this into a page, and it will write a full, like, not even a blog post, like as if you are writing your college white paper or something. It writes like a full paper with
Really?
citations. It's
Wow.
amazing.
Wow.
It's so awesome. Perplexity is what that's called.
Perplexity. Love that. I
Yeah.
could just see that being misused. For
I mean,
college
oh my
kids.
gosh, 1000%. But
Yeah.
the thing is that like, then you come in as a human being and write the rest of it, but it definitely could be misused.
Yeah.
because it does all the research for you.
No. Wow.
But then if we're talking about humanizing your AI, right? Like you let it do the research and then you come in and put your own spin on it. The same way that like the LinkedIn articles have the option to be able to give feedback about things.
Yep.
It's similar to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Any other?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What'd you say?
So any other little?
Yeah. So Kyber is another one that's really fun to play with and that I love, that will take your a photo or a video and it will animate it and turn it into something that's like an AI-ified crazy.
Oh,
You can make it like
spell
steampunk
that for us.
huh?
Spell it for us.
Oh yeah.
Kyber.
Kaiber.
Okay. And it makes your photo turn into this crazy, like animated fun
Yeah,
thing.
you can take a video. So like I did a video of my driveway and I said, turn this into Mardi Gras Wonderland. And
Oh,
it took my video. And then all of a sudden there's like people walking down the video. It's like crazy what it does to it. And then this is a little more hardcore, but what I love to do with that is take the Kyber video and layer my own video on top of it, but make it transparent. And so
oh,
it's not as AI-ified. It's like just a little bit, because
yeah.
when I do it on my own face, sometimes my teeth are like green and purple. So if I can white out that area, so that part is not as AI-ified.
All right. Well, you know what? This has been a jam-packed episode, lots of great stuff. I want to thank you, Molly. I also want to let everybody know, we're going to share a link in the show notes to get into our gift vault, where you'll have access to the content club for free. One thing I want to absolutely point out is I know Molly has a lot of great tools and great resources, but one of her core things that she teaches is it all has to lead to sales, because we could go down this rabbit hole of doing all of these crazy things and we're busy and we're spinning our wheels, but if we don't generate sales from it, what is the point? And she is always like, we have like a spreadsheet where we got to put our goals every month, and everything we do is so intentional. And I feel that's one of the big things I think is really important.
Thank you so much for mentioning that. It's so true, because especially because I get really excited and I'm like, oh, this is so fun. This is so fun. This is so fun. And I'm like, the more fun you have, the more money you make. But if all you're doing is having fun and you're not making offers, like,
Yes.
what is the point? Because when you make sales, that's how you really make an impact. So
Yes.
thank you so much for mentioning that, because I'm obsessed with that fact. So thank you. It's true.
You are. So I want to thank you, Molly, for joining. Finally, we're able to
I
coordinate.
know. I love you so much. And I'm so grateful for all the goodness you share.
You too, my friend. And if you are here and you stayed, of course, you stayed to the whole end of the show. Of course, you wouldn't leave. So much goodness. But just make sure you check out all of the links that we're sharing for Molly. Go to the gift vault, get your free trial. I will see you at one of the meetings. Make sure you come with note-taking apparatus and a little bit of time afterwards to process it all, and make sure you at least identify one or two action steps you want to take. Not all of it, you'll be overwhelmed. But what's great is you'll actually leave that time having a whole month's worth of content done. And it's such a
awesome.
great use of our time. So thanks everybody.
Amazing.
And again, thank you, Molly Mahoney.
Yay. Thank you so much. So good.
Thanks for listening to the Mastery Unleashed podcast, where we believe that everyone can have the business and life of their dreams by turning their mess into their greatest message and following their purpose to help the people who need their newfound wisdom and resources. To learn more, visit masteryunleashedpodcast.com. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review to this show.